All right, gentlemen, I propose a question to you. Jeremiah, since you are the resident stand-up here, I'll let you answer this first. Do you have any favorite stand-up comedians right now, like newer generation?
Yeah, I would say lately, who I've discovered, I watch some Mateo Lane. He's kind of smaller, but he's getting pretty big. I like you guys have seen Mark Norman.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up. He's
He's
definitely got
very
on my
funny.
radar lately.
Yeah, he's someone who just recently blew up in the past couple of years.
His heckling work is great.
Yeah.
Like his crowd work.
Yeah. And then I like Tim Dillon as well. He's really good. He's great, and his podcast is hilarious. So yeah, probably him as well. Those are like my top 3 new ones.
Yeah, it's weird because even though I think Mark Norman's probably late 30s.
Probably.
There's not really too many young guys in the game, or just young people in general that I've followed. Because I get a good bit on like Instagram, like the young up and coming comedians, but most of them is just like the same material. It's not that good.
Right.
And then there are like a lot of interesting ones now that are doing. I don't know if you would consider it like YouTube humor, or it's like they do little bits like on the shorts, but it's really funny. So I don't know. Like I've seen that one guy. He's in that Cocaine Bear movie.
Yeah,
he does like the real aggressive retail stuff.
Who is that?
I don't remember his name.
Okay.
If you look up Cocaine Bear, I know he's one of the guys in the movie, but he always does like the retail bits. At least I see it on Instagram where it's like, customer comes in and they make some stupid joke and then gets real intense. He actually does that in his stand-up. He has the music come in and everything, and he goes on a rant. It's pretty funny. So I do like that you have some comedians now who are incorporating newer, like the technology side of things into their stand-up, which, a lot of the old heads, it's just the jokes and that's it.
I mean, that's like you and the wife went and saw Steve-O a couple years ago.
Yeah, and that was interesting.
Very, like he has like videos and stuff.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be like stand-up, but it was just like always gross, like beyond jackass type of stuff. He had the videos accompanying it, then he would riff on the videos, which was actually pretty funny.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's really awesome.
See, and that's like the good and bad thing about like Instagram, because like you said, you'll see something, but like with it being from Instagram, it's like it's shared from a person, shared from a person, shared from a person. So like even if you do see a guy, he has like 30 seconds of a couple good jokes, it's like I can never find that person again. Like
Yeah, you
until
know their name. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to actually know people who they are, and it's just like I feel like it kind of dilutes comedy sometimes though, because it's all short clips. So it's like you don't get like a long bit or like a long sketch. It's just like a 30-second thing, which is like pushed a lot. So I feel like it's still good, but I think it takes away from having like deeper stuff. That's just my thoughts though. Yeah.
Well, I can say, I mean, just probably from your experience, like, because I watched some of your shorts and stuff, but you don't, if it's not a full set, you can have a great bit. You can even just have a great moment, but that doesn't mean your set was good at all,
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people I see on Instagram, which is funny because I see a lot of terrible bits, and that's their highlight reel. Like that's what they're showing.
Yeah,
it's
like their shows. It's like, what the hell did you like hide? Like, yeah.
It's like you're getting laughs, but I don't think the kind that you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's worse than like the church pity laughs you get when you're doing like one of the small Iowa towns or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mark Norman. Theo Vaughn, like I seen some of his stand-up was okay. I think he's more funny on podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
He's just like a weird individual. But yeah, there's not too many comedians right now that I've really been enjoying, which is kind of sad. I watched the Chris Rock special, and I didn't realize he's 58.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, and he's talking about eating ass and stuff. I was like, nobody wants to see their grandfather eating ass. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess that's where we stand. We'll have some space music here, folks, and then we'll get into the podcast proper. And see where we go from there. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me, as always, Spencer, the Tuscan Taco Tosser Church. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
What kind of tacos you tossing, buddy?
You have to subscribe to find out.
Ooh. And joining us today, special guest, a stand-up comedian and writer, author of the novel Hive, Mr. Jeremiah Ukponrefe. We thank you for joining us. We're very professional here, as you can see. We we do a cold open where we don't introduce you at all, just have you talking.
You're sick, you're drinking on the job, very professional, yeah.
Well, at least it's in the title.
Yeah.
We don't have you very long here, so I want to get into your book first before we, because they got a little taste of, you know, some stand-up talk, but you want to explain a little bit about Hive? You know, give us a quick synopsis here.
Yeah, sure. So
we seem to get a lot of sci-fi writers on here, which I like.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it's just a alien invasion story. So pretty much an alien force known as the Hive invaded Earth a while ago, and humans managed to come together and defeat it. But it pretty much destroyed the Earth as it's known and leaves it in this post-apocalyptic state. And then slowly over time, the humans factions discover that the Hive is still around, but there's more to the Hive than they originally thought. So that's just a little brief synopsis, and anything else goes into spoilers. So, yeah.
Well, I looked up some of the reviews on Amazon, and they're pretty favorable. Like, people seem to be enjoying the book.
Yeah.
Now, is this going to be a trilogy?
It's actually going to be pretty long because it's going to be 9 books. So it's not all. Yeah, it's not all in the Hive universe. There's different planets that the stories take place on, and then slowly these stories come together. So that's why it's 9. So yeah. It's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, that's interesting. So have you started the other books? Because this one came out, what, 2021?
Yeah, the second book is actually almost finished right now. So I'm actually finishing the last draft. So, yeah.
Did you start writing before stand-up?
Yeah, I was doing some screenwriting before, and then I started writing fiction like a little bit before stand-up, just a few months.
Yeah, because I saw that you wrote for like different magazines and stuff, right? Or online publications?
Yeah.
So then you just decided sci-fi is the way to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just got tired of writing about real people, and I was like, I just want to write fantasy people. I think that's a lot more fun because more interesting. You can,
and there's a lot more readers for that too.
Yeah, exactly.
As someone who dives into literary fiction a lot, it's not a good market. Like, you get academic snobs who will follow you maybe, but that's about it. Like, the general public aren't going to read your book, but if you got a cool space story, they'll
you have the chance for a franchise, and you can get Funko Pop money, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
There you go. Since your book came out, how is the whole promotion and social media nonsense going? Because that's what we fail at the most. Like, I hate doing that stuff. Yeah,
it's definitely tough. And for me, it's such a long process of figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I've done a lot of stuff that doesn't work. And it's like, I'll try like 5-6 things, different services, different ways of promoting. And it's like only like 10% of stuff actually ends up working. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's been almost 2 years, and it's just now getting to the point now where it's like, things are starting to look up. And I'm trying to build hype for this book. So then when I put the second one out, there'll be more of an established audience. So that's what I'm working on right now. But it's a pain in the ass, and I agree with you. It's difficult.
Well, that's like they say, overnight success only takes about like 10 years to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, like the problem too with doing a series, like you go into the second book, there probably will be some drop off from the first book, especially if you're just not a big name author. That's just going to happen. Yeah. So you have to promote even harder. And to get people interested in that book, so if somebody just finds out about you, then you have to get them, re-interested in the first one. So you always have to constantly keep that first book afloat. You have to keep it out in attention. That I don't think I would have the stamina for that. I don't think I would like it.
We have a podcast. That's like, I feel like I could never do a podcast, man. I don't know. I just don't know I can't do it, man. So
we started the podcast to procrastinate from our writing.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. We did get a lot of readers just from the podcast when we had our website up. And we also got, we just met a lot of cool authors and, various stages of their career. But we've had, made some really cool friends too doing this who were published by Penguin and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So, we get those people on here and it's like, all right. So that if we could help anybody just boost their numbers even, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, you wanted to be on. I'm like, I don't even know you, but fuck, go ahead. Yeah. I don't care.
Well, what do you guys write? Well, I know you guys were writers too, but I'm curious as to what you guys do.
Well, Spencer, you're more like sci-fi and
genre.
He's more genre guy.
Yeah.
I do like fantasy and stuff, not like Lord of the Rings type fantasy. I'm not writing that, but like magical realism, like Haruki Murakami type stuff.
Okay, right.
I always err more on the literary side, which has been a real ball-busting experience this year because I've been doing a lot of submissions to get published in literary journals, and I've had some success, but like I said, it's like a lot of people aren't reading that stuff.
Yeah.
I really like writing horror, and sci-fi stuff is fun too. The only problem is those markets are so saturated. If you want to get those short stories published, you're on a 8-month wait list, and then you're probably not going to get published anyway, even if it's good.
Yeah.
I'd imagine with your experience writing, a series, we've had like I said, we've had a couple people on who are we actually got a sci-fi writer coming on next week, and he has a really good series. We covered his book, which we might do for you if we, get a chance. Do like a book of the month or something for Hive would be cool. But he got a good boost when we were talking about his book and stuff. But just doing the prolonged series, your book really has to stand out because there's so much content. So it's like, what makes your book original? Why do people want to, read your work instead of going into the 10 volumes of The Expanse or whatever?
Right. That's what's funny too, is like, that's how stand-up actually helps me, because when I'm on the road and I'm doing tours and I'm at my shows, I sell books. So it's a huge boost of like people who wouldn't usually buy it. And you just, because people see you and they're interested, and then it's just like, oh, I just get sales. So it's like, stand-up helps so much with that in terms of like having a unique angle. And it's just difficult to like be a unique person, because it's like you do have to kind of, as an entertainer, you have to sell yourself, and even as authors, like you have to sell yourself too. So it's, you're right, it's difficult with the saturation.
Well, that's the main thing about being a stand-up, is even the introverted stand-ups, you have to put on an air of extroversion. You have to pretend that you're like, I'm everybody, look at me.
Yeah.
You have to be the center of attention, and you have to crave that damn attention. As authors, usually we kind of shy away from that. Not everyone, but a lot of authors, they just want to write the books. They just want to write the stories, They don't want to do all the interactions and stuff. Yeah. But you kind of have a leg up now, because if you're doing the stand-up and you can get those people interested in your personality, especially if you can, which I'm sure would be tough over time, but, you start getting solid 20-minute bits, 30-minute sets. Eventually, you could probably build up to where you can incorporate maybe just a little bit of your writing in there, like your storytelling, and then that'll get more people interested in what you're actually writing about, like your sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And it's funny because I don't see, like, when we were talking about promoting and stuff with comedians, like, you don't see a lot of author reels on Instagram. Like, you don't see a lot of authors on Instagram with like doing short clips of like, here's me writing. Like, it's just not. Yeah. So that part is so hard for authors, because it's like, what do you do? It's just, I don't know.
The main thing you get like the Instagram poets, which is probably TikTok poets now. Right. Yeah. But that's like that. Usually it's garbage. I'm just going to say that shit's fucking terrible. I don't know. Teenage girls like it, but I mean, they sell, so more power to them, and I'm not going to shit on it all. But generally, it's usually like fucking, I don't know, mid-20s white girls doing that stuff. Yeah. But then you get like guys like us, if we want, say I want to do Instagram or TikTok, like I want to have some kind of, here's my author process, and you have to be real animated. And
yeah, true.
Usually what they go into is like the book talk, where they do the speed reading of, here's my synopsis of 1984, and they just blast through it, and it's like you don't learn anything, and it's really annoying. Those are popular, but as far as your own work, I don't know how you promote it like that.
Well, also, I don't think a lot of people on those, at least on Instagram, I don't really see. I don't know about TikTok because I don't have it, but I'm sure like writing and reading on like popular tags. Yeah. In those apps to begin with.
Yeah, all the tags and stuff. Like I had to do that when we had the site up, and it's just like it did bring a lot of people in. But even now, when I do, like, say the podcast post, I barely pay attention. I'd be like, oh, hashtag whatever saved to my phone, podcast community. But like, I just the problem is I just don't care, because it's not fun. And I know you get more listeners. Like you said, we were up to 13 on the writing category, so that's cool that we're getting some attention. But it's like the promotion part is just not fun. Well, I was telling him off air, I think it was last week actually, I had somebody message me who wanted to be a producer for the show. And I was like, I don't know how much that would cost, but no.
Yeah. Right.
For a writing podcast, no.
You're just like, no, like, please not. Yeah.
I don't know if you've gotten that like in the stand-up especially, because you get that some as a writer. It's usually vanity presses and these hunters trying to get you to do whatever. But I'm sure in the stand-up you get people say, hey, you could come and like different bookers and stuff, promoters and agents, and like especially when you reach a certain level, everyone wants a little bit of what you're selling.
Yeah. Exactly. It's funny because like no one wants a piece of you, and then everyone wants a piece of you. It's just like there's this it's like once you cross over that line of like, oh, you matter now. So yeah. I mean, I prefer that though. If everyone wanted to be a nobody, like fuck, that'd be way better.
Yeah.
Send that producer to me. I don't even have a podcast, but I'll do it. Like I'll just
You know what? Actually, that made me think of something that's interesting. So we've talked a lot on here about when you want to get an actual book deal. Say you want to be a traditionally published author. If you try to get a book deal, a lot of them now, and this even goes with like just submissions to magazines and stuff, they check your social media following. They want to make sure you already have they don't want to do any marketing for you anymore. They want to see if you have an audience. And now I'm thinking about it, stand-up's even worse with that. Like if you want to, like, say if you want to be a bigger name, I would imagine whatever promoters that you might want to get into, like, you know, like the Comedy Store or something, like you want to go to a bigger, like a more established venue, they would check. It's like, well, does this guy even have a following? Is he worth getting in here? Does anybody know him? No, you're going to be an open mic person for a while. Like,
like how many followers do you have to get into Joe Rogan's comedy club?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think that would be fun. I don't know, because we both flirted with the idea of doing stand-up like such middle-aged white men that we are. That's what you do. Not so much the idea of writing material or getting up in front of an audience scares me. It's just the idea of like, oh, I got to drive city to city, live in shitty motels.
It's definitely the travel. Like, I think I would be able to eventually get okay with slowly getting in front of bigger and bigger people, but it's the travel. It's that would be terrible.
No, it's fun. The travel is fun because I'm 25 though. So I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'm in a motel. I'm drinking. But if I was 45, then I'd be like, oh, I failed. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It's
but even as like even as like a successful comic, like who's been doing it for like, you know, they still have to fucking travel. Maybe not as much, but they still have to, like, you know, every weekend or whatever, go fly or drive someplace. And it's just like, oh, man, that's such a pain. I hate doing that stuff.
Yeah, you're right. And the funny thing about stand-up is people say you get to travel, but it's not traveling in the fun way. Because when I go on the road, it's like I go to a small town, you get there at 3, the show's at 7, and then you go to bed. It's just like, so it's not like you get to experience where you're at. You get to experience all the motels where you're at. Maybe you get to hang out for like an hour or two, but other than that, so yeah, that's the kind of the aspect of it. That's tough.
Especially if you have like multiple tours, like tour dates. So you go, okay, I'm in Winnipeg today, but tomorrow I gotta go all the way to Ontario. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you don't get to experience anything. You're just driving the whole time. I don't know the distances between those two places. They could be astronomical for all I know. But
Canada seems like one of those places, no matter where, even though they could be neighboring towns, they would still be really far apart, I feel like.
Yeah, Canada's very spread out. So it's like, it's pretty, doing stand-up in Canada is really tough because it's so spread out. So, yeah.
I know you guys have like weird hate speech laws, like they've enforced it lately. Because I remember seeing some comedians got sued for making fun of. Like there was a comedian got sued for, maybe it was a couple years ago for is it like a charity event or something? He made a joke about like a handicapped kid, and it's like, you know, over here we don't think like, you know, getting sued for making a joke would be an impossibility. Like we wouldn't even think twice about that happening. But up there, do you actually have to worry about like some of your material getting picked up, trending, and then it's like, oh shit, I might get in trouble?
Yeah, yes and no, because that guy who got sued, he actually ended up winning the trial. But it was like a few years that it took for him to actually win. So he ended up winning the trial and everything. But I think it's like, the funny thing about stand-up in Canada is like, sometimes you'll get in trouble from other comedians who are like, you can't say that. Like that's...
Really?
So it's like, yeah. So it's really interesting. But it's not that bad. It's pretty rare for it to happen, but it does happen. But it's just, it's not a huge deal.
Well, I mean, they say, even though we got like the freedom of speech here, that you could just pretty much say what you want. That doesn't mean your freedom of consequences. Like Norm Macdonald famously got banned from Iowa, I think, or Idaho, one of the two. Like he did a stand-up, or he did a set in front of like some wholesome crowd that was so bad that like the governor just banned him from the whole state.
Wait, who was this?
Norm Macdonald.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, that's worth looking up, that story. It was really funny because he started off like because they told him, hey, you can't have a dirty act. This is like a family establishment or something like that. And he immediately went into like like cock fucking something or other.
Because he probably didn't even have a dirt that set up. It's just as soon as they told him, like, hey, you can't do this.
Like, once you say that, you can't do it. It's so hard to not,
yeah, that'd be hilarious though, because I think they said like by the end of the show, there's only like a couple people still in there.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that Canada is not completely devoid of comedy, because a lot of great comedians come from Canada, but they always migrate over to the U.S. So I was always wondering, like, does it just suck to do comedy up there? I know you guys have a lot of festivals.
Yeah, sure. It's like Canada is actually very tough because, for example, I'm from Vancouver. I'm from British Columbia, which is the province. And the thing with Canada is it doesn't have a lot of industry. So it's like you have to work super hard to actually make anything of yourself. Like for me to do tours, when I've toured, every tour I've done, it's always been stuff that I put together myself. So it's like you have to work super hard to get what an American comic would get easier, or like a European comic would get easier. So it's just like the lack of industry makes it so like you have to really fight. So I think that's why there's a lot of really good Canadian comedians, but it's really hard to make a real career in Canada. So yeah.
Do you have any ambitions of doing sets in the U.S. at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually more interested in moving to Europe because I wouldn't really move to the U.S., but I would tour the U.S. So
it's a dangerous gambit. I wouldn't recommend that unless you go to the Midwest, maybe. That's just not a very safe place anymore. That's another thing. You talk about touring. It's like you really want to go to Chicago, Detroit.
Yeah, it's the worst places because I'm not famous yet. So only the worst places will take me. So they're like, okay, like, yeah. I mean, but I think it'd be fun. I don't know.
It'd be something to do. I mean, we've been to like even just like Cleveland's a little sketchy. But
super sketchy.
It's like,
actually.
I would do a comedy show there, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't help that the one time we went there, it was like in mid-March, and
it was St. Patrick's Day, and everyone was fighting.
But it was also,
oh my god,
it was snowing, and like a huge Cthulhu like fog kept on rolling through town to give it that nice like Gotham-y kind of doom dread.
Yeah, we were doing a press gig in Cleveland. I would not recommend it.
I thought Cleveland was like nice. That's what I've never been. I've never known anybody who's been, but my perception is Cleveland is just like a nice.
The first time we ever went to Cleveland, because we're only 3 or 4 hours away from Cleveland, because we're south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went to Cleveland for a press gig. We had what was that, Wizard World?
Yeah.
So we were covering that, and we drove in on St. Patrick's Day, and our hotel was right in the middle of the city part that was shut down. And I'm not shitting you. Everyone was just fist fighting.
Yeah,
like
everywhere.
It was ridiculous. And then we went out at night to get some pizza, and again, and it was because it was St. Patrick's Day. It was just drunken buffoonery, and it was not safe. Then I think we went back again
for a different year,
not St. Patrick's Day, thinking it would be better, and it was somehow scarier.
Oh my god!
Because there was nobody from out of town there. Because you have like the downtown area that's kind of nice, but then everywhere else just looks real sketchy.
Okay, so they're like angry drunks over there. So they're just angry fighting drunks. They're not happy drunks.
More like if the drunks were on heroin and like to stab.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Spencer almost got a fight with a bum.
Yeah.
You're almost assaulted.
Well, because he tried to. We were coming back from getting the pizza, and one of the bums were trying to get some money off of us, and then he was like, "Oh, where's your hotel?" And we told him, and he's like, "Oh, I can show you where that is. Like, we know where the hotel is."
Bad move, by the way, even telling him where the hotel was. We just wanted to get him away. Yeah. But he tried. Well, he strong armed you for $5.
Yeah, I think I like threw $5 at him, so he just leave us alone.
Yeah. But then he got mad at you for something.
Like only $5?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, these people are even their homeless people are rude.
Very rude.
Yeah, it's not a good place.
But Columbus is nice.
Yeah, if you do comedy, Columbus would probably be a good town because that's like nice and clean. That's a college town. That's what you want if you want to go to college towns.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know I do. I missed out on college girls when I was that young, so I want to be an older creep, not a full creep, but like
I recommend growing a thick mustache.
Yeah, exactly. I need to get more of a mustache. I need to father.
But you were talking about the European comedy scene. Other than like like the UK and some, like some Scottish and like Jimmy Carr and stuff like that. I don't know too many European comedians. I don't know what the comedy scene's like over there.
Yeah, it's funny because there's actually not that much. There's not that many famous European comedians, but it's actually easier to make money because I know some European comedians and people who have been to Europe, and they've said that like, oh, you actually get paid more performing in places like the UK or whatever than in Canada. So Europe is actually better for making money, but worse for like making fame or whatever. So yeah, or yeah.
Well, I mean, fuck it. I mean, you want to make some money, so
right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you have any plans on building up like your YouTube or anything like that?
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually doing YouTube for a little bit, but I privated all my videos because I was looking for a job. And now that I've gotten a job, I'm gonna wait like a week and then I'm gonna unprivate them and then start uploading again. So I actually just got a job that I'm starting on Tuesday. So I'm gonna start up on the YouTube again pretty soon. So I'm
that's a smart move.
Have you thought about taking up a fake name?
Yeah,
like a stage name.
I gotta use my real name. Yeah, but yeah, it was funny because I wasn't getting a job. It took me a long time, and I was thinking, is it because they're seeing my YouTube channel? Because my YouTube channel had stuff that people would see, and they'd be like, no, we're not hiring this guy. So yeah.
Well, I think I saw today you had a small bit about sawing off someone's head or something, or
yeah, probably
missing woman with a missing head. I don't know, but yeah, not necessarily family friendly, not corporate values and whatnot. Yeah. And I imagine in Canada, they're even more strict about that kind of stuff when it comes to the corporate. Well, I don't know. All corporate people are fucking shitty. Well, I guess we're at the 30-minute mark, so if you gotta duck out, we can go.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just mention that my novel Hive, it can be found just at www.jeremiahu.com. If you're someone who's recruiting me for a job, none of what I said is true. I'll be on this podcast. I love Cleveland.
Cleveland rocks.
Yeah, Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland wants to offer me a job. I love you. Yeah, but thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. That was fun. If you ever want to come on again, just let me know when your second book comes out. That'd be a good time to promote it,
Yeah, maybe like we were talking about if we get around to reading, Hive soon or something, we can have you back. Maybe do a little bit more in depth a little bit of,
Yeah, that's the only thing is I always hate when we have someone on who's like, we didn't read your book.
Yeah.
But I didn't have time to read your book yet. Yeah. But yeah, we could do something like that in the future. But yeah, thanks for coming on. The folks will definitely check you out, I'm sure, because you'll get the big DPW spike.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, sweet. Thank you, man. Have a good day.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was our guest. Normally, we don't cut things out that quickly, but he actually had something to do. But that was fun.
Yeah.
We never get stand-up comedians on here, so I like that. As two guys who pretend to be funny. It's
nice
that we actually have somebody that's really funny.
Yeah, somebody that's actually funny.
If you folks want to check out our stuff, well, first you can follow us at DPW Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We should probably make TikTok skits, but again, like we spoke about on the episode, I just don't.
No, because remember, what was that, last week or the week before the podcast, I was breaking it down, here in the studio.
Oh, the twerking, yeah.
The twerking, and you said no. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's on there, right?
Listen, that was gross, okay? I mean, I know gross stuff sells, but come on. If you want to follow me, folks, I will have a publication up, not next week, the week after, I think. What is that on? Literally Stories, I believe. You can check out my website, calebjamesk.com. I'll have information on there. I'm going to start publishing some stories that keep getting rejected on there, too.
Yeah.
So check that out. Yeah. I didn't. This was going to be my cold open before we had a guest. No, it wasn't. That doesn't make any sense because it happened today. I would have liked this to be the cold open. Let me say that. So I'm going to tell you a little story, Spencer.
Story time.
This happened to me earlier today, and traumatic. So I gave you the tour of the gym.
Yes.
The other day. So you got to see our fine basement gym I go to. It's a private gym. The bathroom leaves much to the imagination. It's not the nicest. There's one guy every day when I go who's always pissing in the toilet with the door open and never flushes.
Isn't there a sign about flushing in there?
There is, and he never fucking flushes. So anyway, at the end of my workout today, I go in the bathroom to wash my hands.
Yeah, because it's like an old schooly gym. Like
yeah,
you're gonna
rust and stuff on your hands. Yeah, because I always go on my lunch, like I go eat my lunch right after the gym, so I always wash my hands real good because, like you said, rust and everything. So I'm washing my hands, and we have a shitty little fucking soap thing somebody put water in, so it's like extra liquidy, and it shot on my cheek. I'm like, ew, yeah. So I hurry up, wash my hands, grab a paper towel, and I wipe off my cheek like such.
Is it wet?
Well, no, yeah, it's wet, but that's not the gross part, Spencer. The gross part is that I have my $250 to $300 Project Rock headphones in the little buds.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I know they're overpriced, but I like them. They work really well. And anyway, I hit the right one out, and it fell right in the fucking pissy toilet. It landed right in.
Did you just flush it away?
There's not much water in it. It's all concentrated just a little bit on the very bottom. It's one of those toilets that somebody shits and it smears right down the side. Dry smear. Fucking terrible. So anyway, I'm just staring at my headphone floating in this fucking yellow malaise. I'm like, oh, God. I got to get it out of there. I did think, I was like, should I just flush it and buy new ones? No, they're almost $300. I'm not doing that. And the music stopped, by the way, so I was like, it might be broken. So now I'm calculating the risk versus reward here.
Yeah.
I grabbed the filthy fucking toilet scrubber because that's the only thing in there that I could use to dig it out. And I scraped it, rub all the shit, fucking whatever on the headphone, but can't get it up because, again, the toilet, it's a small toilet and has a small toilet hole, and the water's all concentrated at the bottom, so I can't even get a backsplash to get it up. Long story short, I had to barehand it in the fucking cold piss to get my headphone out, and then I just fucking washed the shit out of it with the soap. Like, you're not supposed to wash a headphone like that.
No.
I washed it and washed it and washed it. Washed my hands 50 times.
They're still dirty.
Headphone works.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in my ear, but I pressed, like, it still works. Might even work better. So, you know, anybody thinking about buying Project Rock headphones, solid purchase.
Would they make it through a fucking nasty toilet experience?
Yeah, but that was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. Physically, way worse things have happened to me. Emotionally, way worse things happened to me. But that was like one of those nightmares along with, I dropped my toothbrush in the toilet.
Yeah.
But at least that, you're just like, I'm throwing it away.
Yeah.
But this is something expensive. Like, phone in the toilet probably is number one, right?
Yeah.
Phone in the toilet. I think headphone is a close second.
Yeah, or glasses if you had glasses.
Glasses, that's another one.
Because even though that you can clean those off, they're forever unclean.
Forever tainted.
That just sounds like a terrible experience.
Oh, because that guy couldn't fucking
and now
flush.
I'm just waiting for you tell me that story, then you just take your headphones off and you have them both in your ears right now. Like, I'm just giving in.
Yeah. And so not only this week I hurt my back, and I'm sick for some reason. But then that happens.
Can you get pink ear?
Maybe. I don't want to, like I said, I didn't put the fucking earbud in. I did break a little bit of luck on my side in that when I knocked the headphone out, the actual ear tip, like it has a little soft tip.
Yeah.
I thought it fell in the toilet too and got flushed because I flushed it after for some reason. I don't know. I was like, piss. No, it actually was stuck in my ear. So the part that actually really goes deep in my ear did not go in the toilet.
Oh, okay.
So that is fortunate, but yes. So things I don't want in the toilet, earbuds, phone, probably my wedding ring. But I wear silicone ones, so I'm not even wearing one now. Yeah. But I just throw those in the garbage.
You got like 10 of them.
Yeah, maybe like your father's ashes probably wouldn't be good to dump in the toilet on accident. If you have like
keys,
like keys, you know, like maybe like a newborn baby wouldn't be so good. But other than that, I don't know. That's the state. It was one of those things. I watched it too fall, and I stuck my hand out to save it. I was like, no, my reflexes aren't good because I worked shoulders today. And just bloop. That's it. It just went bloop. And right to the bottom.
See, that's whenever you do have money, you just would have took the other one out, dropped it in the toilet too, and just flushed him away forever.
And go beat up the guy that was still in the gym that pisses in there. Because he just doesn't flush his piss.
Well, even still, the
toilet was all the way up, too. That's another thing.
I mean, even if it was like an unpissed-in toilet, it's still a very publicly used toilet.
Yeah.
It'd be like one thing if you were doing stuff around the house and you were listening and it was your own toilet. Like, that's still gross, but at least like, hey, it's me and the wife stuff. It's, you know, it's...
And it's a gym toilet, so you got a lot of pre-workout shits going on in there.
And just sweat.
Like, there was a guy yesterday. He does it every day he goes in there. He was mid-squats. All of a sudden, just racked it, went in the toilet for 20 minutes. I was like, dude. And it was rank, because, again, I went in there. That wasn't today, was it? No, that was yesterday. I had to remember, because, like, oh, my God, that would be... Like, what if somebody took a... No, I'm not even going in there. Imagine if it landed on a log. Bloop.
Just like a little flag planted.
So anyway, I had to tell that story while it was fresh in my mind because it did scar me a little bit because that's one of those things like it's never gonna be clean again.
Never.
And the worst, it's the right one, which on those headphones, that's the one that has the play button and stuff. And that's the one that syncs up. So the left one doesn't work without that one. If it was the left one that fell in, I'd just be like, I'm never using the left one again. I'll just always have one, earbud. So anyway, folks, I hope that didn't disturb you too much, but we thank you for listening. We thank our guest, and we'll check you next time.